right, Michael and Abdul back here with Bionic WP. Now that we've recently released our new baby out in the world, we're now going to call this show Bionic WP going forward. And today we're going to talk about how we set up our team structure for our SaaS product, right?
Yep.
We're going to talk about how you and I worked through getting to the final, team that we currently have. When Abdul and I first got together, and we finally decided to move forward with this product, he wanted to have about 150 different developers doing different things over about a 2-year period before we launched the product. No, just kidding. We wanted to have, I think I really pushed for a lean team. So why don't we talk a little bit about the structure, and then I'm going to tell a little story about something, and then we'll go from there. So go ahead. So the team structure, how we kind of got to the point where we did.
Okay. No, I think it's true. Like, we started with an idea, and then we were like, okay, how do we get the right people in the right places? But definitely, like, it started everything. It started with a bigger kind of a team, and okay, this is what we need. And then as discussions went on, okay, we discussed how it should be, what people are essential, what people can come later. So I think we then came down to a very manageable team size, which we can say, okay, this is a team we can manage as well at the start, and this can at least get the work done as well, because you need to balance both things, right? You need to have a team which you can financially manage as well, like with your current, manage in every aspect, and at the same time having enough people that the work actually gets done, right? So you have to kind of keep a balance between both things. So I think we did get there. And
but I think just even that right there is kind of funny, because I think you would go off and create the plan and come back and you'd say, okay, here, and I'd be like, no way, that's way too much. We need to be at half of that. You'd go out, come back, and I'd be like, okay, now we need to be at a quarter of that, right? And then finally you're like, no, I can't do that
anymore. That's the process, right?
I
think that's the process, right? And like that's the process that you have to follow, and like everyone has to be open for that as well, because like if you are starting something, you have to be open. Okay, let's have different viewpoints, right? Because I had a different viewpoint. You challenged me on that, and then I kind of saw what you were saying, and then the end result is better, right? Like we are saying in the video that we recorded yesterday about support, that you have a very different kind of where the line is drawn kind of a thing. Both of us think customer first, but we have different places where we draw the line kind of a thing. But then there are discussions that we happen in between us. But the end result is that the customer is getting something better, right? Because of everything that's happening here. So I think the same happened with this as well, that I had an idea, you had an idea. We kind of started discussing that, and then the end result is that it's something that we both are comfortable with. We both understand, okay, this is where we should be right now at the current phase that we are in. And hopefully now that we are going and getting into things, we are talking to more people, we think, okay, we need to maybe hire now we know, right? Because instead of like, if you would have hired 30 developers, that for an example, and now suddenly like the deals that we're having, things happening, we know we need some more support people in. So that would have been a further strain on the overall things, right? So now we know, okay, we're not as bloated in the developer side, so we can get some more support people and get those things rolling as well. So I think that's the kind of balance that we have to have, because once you start, when we started, we didn't know like exactly how the team would be, right? And how we kind of get work done, stuff like that. But now that we are into it, and we completed sprint 0, we now almost completed sprint 1. So now I know, and I have a better idea in terms of development as well. Like, okay, where would we need some more help going forward once we hit some further phases out down the line. So okay, where I can see, because now as work is happening, I can see, right, where the kind of gaps are and where I need to kind of plug in things. So then now the same with support as well. Now we have more room on our support side to, okay, keep growing that part as well. So I think for us, one thing that we from the very start had in mind was, like you said, the lean kind of the structure, right? Like making sure that the team is lean. You wanted to add something on that.
Yeah, I do, because I think it's actually really, really funny. So we're going back and forth with, hey, this team, and you're saying, hey, we won't have a product until, August. And I'm like, I want one 15 days in, right?
Yeah.
And we're going back and forth. And then all of a sudden Abdul comes in one day and he was like, my dad said it's kind of crazy. We're waiting until August to have a plan, right?
Yep.
And then I was finally like, I like your dad.
Yeah.
and it just, I think it helped you to let go of the older kind of idea of, hey, this is how we're going to develop this product, more to, no, we're going to have these. And then you've really gotten into this thing deep where you've actually created your own, which we're going to talk next about, the MHP, right? Where like you've created these different stages, which still get us to August, where we have a product, which I think is what you originally thought August would be about, but having something earlier just for something, right? Like I said, even if it's just a button or whatever it is, but it's more than that after our first week, which is very cool. Thanks to our developers last night they're working very hard to get there. But I think it was cool to see both of us push each other, and then both of us give a little bit as well in regards to, hey, this is where we okay, it doesn't have to be the full-blown system. I just want to be able to log in, log out, and launch an instance. That's our goal for June 1st, right? Is what our, and we both agreed. And then sometimes I say, hey, I want this, and you're like, nope. And then you're like, nope, this is more important, or no, that sprint is full. There's no more sprint activities that can happen in that. So I think with the team structure, what we are seeing now though is, because we've had, I'll say we've been pretty lucky so far. We've landed a couple big partners, and we have one partner that thinks they're going to start bringing on a lot of business for us, that we're going to need to probably double the support team already, right? So I'll say there's 2.5 people right now, you being a half, because you're obviously doing other things, not just doing the support, right? Maybe it's a full person because your half is as good as a full person, but maybe we have 3 people then. But we need probably 2 more people already just on the support side because of the requests that are coming in. And it's just, questions and the response times that I expect, right? And you expect, and
we're already discussing on that as well. Like I think we went through our reports, I think on Thursday, and then we came, okay, this is not right. Like the first response times, you have to get better at that, things like that, right? So we already have that in a view that we need to kind of start fixing those things from right now, because that's what I was thinking. Okay, right now we don't have a huge number of customers, and if first response time right now is this, how will we manage it when we have, let's say, 10x these customers? So these are things that like we have to fix right now to start making sure that, okay, once the load starts coming in, we are better prepared for that, right? So I think like for us, customer support is one of the main priorities. So we are thinking of that, like both of us from the start, right? Like it's not an afterthought that we see that with many companies, that, okay, once you get the customers and then you think of how to support them.
And I think we're still going to struggle, even though it's like our forefront, to find good people that have the knowledge that can support at the level we want. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a constant problem for any business, but we're going to try to stay in front of it. We just recently saw one of our partners struggle with support. They've recently changed some things pretty significantly, and it's already affecting, I think, people's view of how they're. Now people are being like, hey, they've provided great support forever, give them a break, right? Which I think is the approach you should take, right? They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out, hey, we got to scale, but have better support. I think we both don't think their business model supports what they're trying to do, right? Definitely. But that's a different discussion. But it's interesting to watch them go through it, because I think we're going to go through exactly the pains that they're going through, and hopefully we can solve them. As well as they do, if not better. So.
And when you mention support people and adding more support people, so I think one of the issues that I think it should be there, like especially when we are starting, when your team is already very small, is people ghosting you. Because we had it like in a team of 15, we had 2 people, so that's like maybe how much, like 20%, something like that, right? Of a staff. So we had like 2 people who 15, we had 2 people who kind of, one person just told me the day they were supposed to join after 1 month of notice, because here we have like a 1 month notice period for many companies. So we gave him the offer, everything happened. The day he has to join, he didn't show up. So we're like, where are you? Right? So he said, I can't join. So then now, because that was it was a QA person, it was a very integral position for us, because for all the developers, having a QA there is very important to keep things moving forward. So not having him there on sprint 1, we saw the result last night, right, of what happened of not having that person in the team. Because right now, when we thought of a very lean structure, we made sure that everyone who is coming in has a kind of a very important role to play in the whole kind of the scenario, right? Because when you have a huge team, you have okay different people who can do different things, but when you're a lean team, you have to make sure that each person is pulling their weight, right? So that QA person had to pull his weight, which didn't happen. Then we had the same thing happen with one support person that we hired. So like that's why we had 2 support people, not 3. We should have been at 3, but I think it's better. Like at that time, you might think that okay, why did this happen? It shouldn't happen. But I think it's always good that these things happen at the start. I think it's a good thing that these people who weren't that open to learning, open to new things, if they would have joined, I think that would have been worse for us. Like now that they didn't join, so now we can get the right person as well for that. But I think that for momentarily it does cause issues when you already have a very kind of a lean team structure.
Yeah. No. When you have one guy not show up, and that's 15% of what you expected, or 2 people not show up, and that's 15%. That's like, wow, okay, that's a lot, right? Now somebody's got to make up 15% of the work.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think, what, you got something else?
Yep. Team structure. I still have to get into how the team is structured. So I think for us, the 3 main important teams, right? I think as we are more of a hosting kind of a provider, cloud solutions provider, but I think this is very similar to any SaaS business that would be like, they might name teams differently, but it's very similar to any SaaS business. One is our platform operations team. This is a team that is developing the platform that customers will come to, customers will interact with, and we as admins will also work in. Then we have a Devops team, which is kind of doing the development operations, doing this, handling the servers, handling the infrastructure, automating that part of our system. And then third, the most important team is the application operations team, that is the support team that we have. So these are 3 teams that we have divided our kind of our whole structure into. Platform.
How many people in each team?
Yep. So when we talk about the platform team, right now in platform we have one lead developer, right, who's leading that team, and underneath that lead developer he has 2 backend developers and 2 front-end developers, right? And then he had to have
5 people on that team.
Yeah, and he had to have a QA as well, which we will get eventually. So he'll have a QA as well, right, to QA the work. With the DevOps team, we have a lead DevOps engineer who's leading that team. He has 1 supporting person there. Yep, his one was, I just remembered, his one was also one that kind of, but he's good that he told us when he didn't accept our offer. So everything was good. When he placed the offer, it just didn't work out. So he had to have 2 people under him supporting him. But right now it's 1, but both of these guys are doing an amazing job making sure that things are moving forward. And then when we come to the application operations team, right now we have 2 people who are in our support side. We'll be increasing that team as well as we go forward. So that's how we've kind of structured the team. We do have one other guy in the platform team who looks after WordPress as well. So I just forgot that at the start because he just joined this week. So our team is structured into a lead developer on the platform side, 2 developers on backend, 2 developers on front end, 1 WordPress, and then 1 QA. Same with the DevOps side, 1 lead DevOps engineer, and then 2 supporting people for him. And then for the support side, we have 2 support people right now, adding more into it. But for the support people, I think the main idea that we have is kind of training our own people, because finding good technical support people, because for us, we have a goal that all the support people that come into our company, into Bionic, would be WordPress engineers. So that's one thing we're separating ourselves with, that okay, if our customers talk to our support people, they're not talking to some tier 1 kind of a guy who doesn't know WordPress, who doesn't know things like that. They are talking to the person who can actually solve their problem right and there. He doesn't need to kind of, I've taken the information, now some other guy has to.
And are there advanced issues that they might not understand?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's not like calling whatever the 10,000 or 8,000 pound gorilla that we all know, and they say, "Hold on, I gotta get somebody else." Yep, next person. Yep, okay, hold on. Like, I know more than the 3rd level tier information that they have there at that company, right? Yeah. And it takes a while to get moved up. Here, we want the first 3 or 4 tiers addressed by the people that are right there, where we have to pay a little more up front to have that experience, not somebody just answering the phones, right? That can actually address your problem and help the customers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now getting developers to do custom, because then if it needs to be a WordPress engineer, that means he or she needs to be a developer. So getting them to do customer support developers to do customer support is a challenge in itself, right? Because they like to kind of develop it. So for us, it's very important to have some career stuff inbuilt in the role as well, that how they can move forward in their career, how they can kind of get trained, how they can get better WordPress engineers, and at the same time giving them the customer service skills that they need to make sure that they're providing a good experience. So one thing of that is that we are in the process of starting a kind of academy as well, like an internal kind of a learning platform where developers and especially our support team can learn and get better into WordPress skills so they can support better. So the idea is maybe we might not find that many good support people. We just might have to train support people. So this is something that is there as well, and that's why we have to kind of start thinking. We are thinking of support from day one right now, of how we can make sure that we are ahead. We always remain ahead of this problem and we don't get caught off guard. So I think for us, this is a very kind of a lean team structure, and I think as one idea that we have is of squads, that as I think we discussed in a video yesterday as well, that as time goes on and as a product gets more mature, we will be having squads of 2-3 developers, front end, back end mix, who will be responsible for their own modules, their own area of the product, right? They'll be the product owners of their own area of product. So that's the idea, and that's maybe we'll get into by end of this year or early next year. But for now, this is how our team is structured. It's a very simple team structure. You might say like it's a very simple, but I think it's efficient and it gets the work done.
Yeah, I think we're 1 for 1 so far on sprints.
Yep.
So it took a little bit longer than we had hoped, but they got there. Yesterday, we were able to see the login screen and log in and log out.
Yeah.
So that was exciting, right? I mean, a simple thing like that can be exciting. Yes, it can be. When you're developing it, when you're building this team and getting everybody to work together and starting to push that ball, up the hill as we do this, getting everyone to do it together. You have done a great job with that, and so has Afran and Hassan as well, to get this team working together. And the team has done great coming together to build it. It seems like we have some really good team chemistry so far. A lot of joking in the stand-ups and having some fun and things like that. So anything else you want to add here with the team structure?
No, I think we covered a lot of that. So I think I think this is like something that we might have to revisit 6 months down the line. So we'll do that once the team structure changes.
6 months, you know how we roll. It'll be more like 2 months, right?
Yeah.
And we're doing something different. Hey, on the completely different note, we are still with Front, where we've switched, multiple platforms recently. This one has stayed for a little while now.
Yeah.
So,
and it looks like it will stay. Like right now, we don't have many problems with it, so it looks like it will survive.
We're not spending a lot of time researching anything else right now.
Yeah,
so,
it would survive.
I think the team structure makes sense the way it is and how we're doing it. I think that'll kind of wrap it here for the team structure, how to structure, how we've structured our team structure and how to build a SaaS product. That's kind of what we're doing and how we're building it. I'm Abdul. I'm Michael. He's Abdul. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.